Let's talk about you as a marketing agency entering into digital accessibility and compliance. As you know, this space is growing and it's growing fast. We've got the European Accessibility Act, we've got the Americans with Disabilities Act, and there are so many entities that need to be compliant with one or the other or both. And of course, there are many more laws and regulations. As you enter this space, just know that you do not want your clients to use overlays or overlay widgets. You also don't want to recommend that they buy scans. It's not that scans can't provide some value, but think of them more as tools for practitioners than for clients who want to reach full WCAG conformance. You do want your clients to audit and user test their digital assets. Just know that with audits and user testing, these are two related services where we are trying to find accessibility issues, but they are distinct from one another. All right, so continuing on, your two paths are to either partner with a digital accessibility company or build out a division in-house. And so to represent this, the accessible.org logo along with the LinkedIn logo. Now, I like LinkedIn to look for contractors, but just know that as you are looking for employees or contractors on LinkedIn, it probably won't be the first profile you come across or the second or the third. There are many people who claim to have technical expertise in digital accessibility, and there are far fewer that actually have that technical expertise that you need to audit a digital asset. Also, if you are contemplating the option of, hey, we're really smart here, just give us the weekend, we'll figure this out, I have a big red X for that. I do not recommend that because this is a specialized subset of knowledge and it just takes time and experience to hone in and develop that expertise. And so you really do just want to appreciate the fact that for any profession, right, the longer you spend in it, the better you get. You want to be able to provide clients with excellent services. And if you've taken this on as a weekend project, you're just not going to have that experience and expertise necessary. Think of it with SEO, right? You can learn a lot about SEO in just one weekend, but you definitely won't be an expert in SEO after a weekend. It's like that. It won't take as long to learn all of the ins and outs, but it is something that where you start out as a beginner, you develop proficiency, and then eventually you get to expertise. All right, so continuing on, what do the profits look like? Well, if you are going to take on accessibility in-house, then the profit margins can be 50 to 100%, maybe even more, depending on your clientele and your services. If you are looking to partner up, then with accessible.org and many other digital accessibility companies, the commissions are going to be lower. So 10%, maybe 15% for the genuine professional accessibility services. That is because we are working with lower margins. And there's also, as you know, as a marketing agency, that extended client relationship stretches out those margins. All right, so continuing on, here's what our typical client process looks like. The client will get an audit. The client will then make fixes to their digital asset. Then we will validate that the fixes have actually been made correctly. We will then repeat steps 2 and 3 until the client is either satisfied or their digital asset is fully conformant. And then we will issue any applicable documentation. For number 2, I have an asterisk because the client doesn't have to fix, right? Like if you have a development team in-house, then maybe you are the one that is making the fixes. But for steps 1 and 3, audit and validation, you are going to need technical expertise in-house. All right, continue on with that last point, number 5 in the process. This is where things can get difficult for a marketing agency who is just now entering the space and they are saying that they have their own accessibility division. Well, if you are issuing documentation like certification, clients will ask for VPATs. A lot of clients now, especially now, are becoming more aware. They're becoming more educated in this space. And so they know that they want someone who specializes this and has experience in this. And it's going to be more difficult for you to close clients if you're new to this and you just don't have that specialization. When it comes to VPATs, there's nothing to stop anybody from filling in and completing a VPAT and issuing what is an ACR. So an ACR, think of it as a completed VPAT. There's nothing that stops anybody from issuing an ACR. Likewise, there's nothing that stops anybody from issuing certifications. So what you're going to see in the marketplace is that the documentation issued by newer entrants just isn't going to have the same weight Some clients won't be aware of this, other clients will, and it will just be a point of friction for your agency. So just something to keep in mind. Also, if you want to land larger clients, larger contracts, then it's going to be it's going to be more difficult just because you don't have that experience. All right, so continuing on, but this space does offer, of course, direct money, leads to your existing business, to what you currently specialize in, and this is a hyper growth sector. So we're just going to see a tremendous boom in digital accessibility. All right, so what some more difficult areas, some problem areas to be aware of. One, you'll need to focus in on accessibility. So here I have create your own division for accessibility. That's really what's going to be necessary, because if you split your focus, it's going to be more difficult for you to grow your agency. Obviously, you already have this specialization. And so if you are offering accessibility from within your agency, you're going to want to have a specialized division so that you're not diverting focus. And so the next I have is that you're going to need to develop knowledge in-house. And it doesn't mean that it's necessarily expertise, but when we think back to that weekend, the all-out weekend learning session where we're learning accessibility, this is something where you do want to have that base knowledge so that you're able to relay the services and the appropriate documentation and really answer clients' questions as they come to you. So you're going to need to build that knowledge in-house anyway. Just know that you won't have the technical expertise to carry out on some of the services if you are building that in-house. All right, so next, attention to detail. Attention to detail is very, very important in this space. You need to pay a close attention to detail. It is so important that just with the technical accessibility, with the compliance aspect, with the litigation aspect that is ongoing in the United States, you need to pay close attention to detail because you need to make sure that you have excellent quality services. This goes right along with the documentation. You have to pay attention to detail. There's also, as I just mentioned, the compliance aspect and, of course, the legal aspect of this. So, of course, there is some risk by you assuming technical expertise. All right, so if you are interested in getting started, the first layer that I recommend is that you read my book so that you understand all of the key concepts and the key terminology in this space. And not only that, but my book is going to help you relate them to one another. So I highly recommend that you start out with my book. It's on Amazon. It's called Digital Accessibility and Compliance. And then the next thing I would do, if you are still serious about starting a digital accessibility division, is that you take my WCAG course. This is going to take about 3 hours to finish. It may take you longer, just depending on how long you want to spend in the lessons. But anybody, if you are a digital agency owner, you need to understand digital accessibility to offer these services. If you don't understand the web content accessibility guidelines, you are really going to be missing a key component of this all. So you need to understand about the legal requirements. You need to understand about the technical requirements, and then you need to understand all of the different key terms and concepts that are involved in this space. And it's not that difficult. My book takes about an hour and a half to read, but it will really help you understand the space. Whereas right now, you're just thinking about entering the space and you still need to put some different things together, and you might not be aware of some things that you need to be aware of. And then I highly recommend my WCAG course to complement my book, because now you'll have an understanding of the technical requirements that everyone keeps referring to. So this is where I recommend you start. I highly recommend that if you're interested in this space, that you seek it out, and you can definitely be a part of this space and profit from it without having the technical expertise in-house. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I will include links in the description for this video.